You are listening to High School 510, where sports is the plane, comedy is the pilot, and the sweet Chiba is our jet fuel. Please sit back and enjoy the ride.
We were talking about our theory, which is the A's, they always seem to get good young talent, but never any talent that has a ceiling to be necessarily great on a regular basis. Whereas you have, it feels like all these young prospects that are like generational talents at different teams. And so we were talking about how the Dodgers seem to have a lot of like really good young talent, some players that are going to be great or already becoming great players. Whereas the A's never seem to get that same talent. And so
and
our
they
theory,
had double the amount of draft picks than the Dodgers.
so our theory is that the A's purposely, you always say don't date up, date down, so you can, secure the bag. It's a similar thing. The A's draft down instead of drafting up. So like there might be a generational prospect that they could try and draft, but they're like, well, let's get the guy that's like right behind him. It's close right now, but we know his ceiling is probably a little bit less, so that when the contract does come up, we have a better chance of re-signing him. And
Yeah, kind of like they like to make.
should we talk about football at all?
Well, we can be quick with it. I mean, we ain't got to
Touch
take all
on
day.
football. In football news, the Cowboys moved to 2-0 today with
Yeah, what happened in
another.
football news? 'Cause I have no idea. I don't know who. Let me tell you the amount of football I watched today. I turned on the 49er game and saw that they were killing whoever they were playing. I can't remember who they were playing.
I don't know.
Cincinnati. They were
Cincinnati.
destroying them. Every time I look up, it was the defense was just destroying them. And then I walked away from the screen, came back, and they jumped to the Seattle game, which I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. Maybe it's just the name Russell. And I'm like, oh, it's a close game. Seattle up 2. Seattle got the ball. 4th and 1. They run for it. They make it. They take a knee to rest. That was all football I watched until this right here.
Yeah, we're watching the Sunday night game is on right now in the background. But yeah, man, it was I didn't see much either. I just saw the Cowboy game and then or saw parts of it. Cowboys look good. They dropped another 31 points today, so that's 2 games over 30 points in the first 2 games of the season. So
Who they play against?
Washington. They're playing Washington. Racial slurs.
Did they get Did Nick Saban help make their schedule?
No, I don't think so. Bill Belichick and Nick Saban probably got the same schedule makers. And the Cowboys are picking up on a little bit of that schedule. They play Miami next week, so good chance the Cowboys go to 3-0. Otherwise, there was some news around the league just with players still continuing to show out a little bit. Lamar Jackson had another good day. Kyler Murray playing from behind, once again doing the same thing but putting up some big numbers once again. And then other than that, the biggest news is probably a couple injuries to some important QBs. Drew Brees left the game early after having his hand hit his thumb by a pass rusher and didn't return. They say he's having a hard time gripping the ball, so there could be some ligament or fractures in there. So that's not good for the outlook of New Orleans at this point. And then aside from that, Ben Rothlisberger also left the game early with a arm injury after throwing a ball down the field and then grabbing his arm, and he left the field. So yeah, man, a couple big time arms are down, and the landscape of the league could be in a big transition for this season at least this season.
I heard Sean Payton signed an extension with the Saints, so Drew Brees should be playing until he's like 53.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
like 5 or 6 year extension.
5 to 6 year
today?
extension?
Something
Wow.
like that. Through 2024, maybe.
That's good news for him, man.
Maybe 5 years.
He better start figuring out who his next quarterback's gonna be,
Yeah.
because Teddy B, my boy Teddy Bridgewater, could be the one. I don't know. I'm always rooting for the brothers. I'm always rooting for Teddy Bridgewater because I liked him in college and the way he played. But we'll see. There's been some hype around that quarterback Taysom Hill being the actual next quarterback for them. Well, there was some article I saw somebody wrote, and it was on Bleacher Report, so it could be some just random blogger just being like, Taysom Hill is the next answer at quarterback, not who you would think.
I'll be so happy they put him in, so we can just get this out the way. Get this Tebowism out the way.
Give him one full game to see how he runs the offense.
Like, I'm going to tell you this, yeah. Jared used to get so frustrated at Tebow getting shots, right? Like, why did Tebow getting a chance? He sucks. I'm like, well, he does win, right? I said, but it's fine because he's just proven how much he can't throw the ball. Let him play. And Jared's like, no, he shouldn't get a shot. That's how I feel about Tyson Hill. Just let him get in. Let him throw. He can't throw the ball, and then we'll move on. And Teddy Bridgewater get more of a shot.
Yeah, hopefully. Ben Roethlisberger, though, that's another one of Aaron's triggers. And Aaron has certain triggers where, he
you
gets
can't
riled
call
up.
hating a rapist a trigger. Can you?
No.
Yeah, that's not a trigger. That's just, I don't know what to call it. I don't feel like I'm a hero. You don't relate me to Jesus or Gandhi or any figures that people revere, regardless of religion or anything else. I just don't like a rapist or a sexual assaultist.
True.
What's going to happen is somebody going to get pregnant.
Was that ill-timed?
I think quarterbacks, it just makes you appreciate how hard the position is to play.
No, it is.
Because
It is.
you're back, it's almost like college coaches being recycled.
Yeah.
It comes back down to the same 4 or 5 elite guys.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
just a big,
Big jumbo in the
kind of
middle.
just a big mess of second or third tier guys. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. He's got all these expectations. He looked decent, but
Yeah.
I think the Niners are right in their defense right now.
Ooh, man.
So other than Pat Mahomes, that guy is the real deal.
He
Like,
is.
I wanted to reserve judgment for a while, but watching today
He's-
just for a quarter against the Raiders, that guy.
He sees the field. He
He
puts
is
it there.
elite. And how
He's
many
tight.
guys are there like that? There's Aaron Rodgers. There's
Aaron Rodgers, Brady, Russell Wilson.
Russell
Yeah,
Wilson.
there's-
That's about it.
Top five.
And
Like
Breeze.
5 or 6 guys.
Yeah.
That can do it, consistently. And
there's still a
and
bunch of
right
guys.
now, you might have to enter a new hat in there. Dak Prescott is starting to throw that ball around.
I enter my hat as soon as their schedule. See, they can't hide behind their schedule for long.
I know.
They can't hide behind. They got
I'm not
Miami.
sold on Prescott.
The only thing, I'm not either. I'm sure not.
They're benefiting from Witten being back.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. He's put up over 30 points a game the first 2 weeks in a newer offense where it's more stuff going on, which takes more of him knowing the offense and being in control of it. But he's put up over 30 points against NFL defense.
Did he miss training camp or something?
No, he didn't.
Oh, then
No
what-
Cowboy for him. But what I'm gonna say is this: it's encouraging that although most players aren't playing, and there's been a lot of bad football play these first couple weeks because players aren't playing in the preseason nearly as much, and so the
But
timing.
the Dallas players played.
They played a little bit. They didn't play
They
more
played
than a
more
quarter.
than okay. If you were the Rams, you could say, all right, or even Green Bay. Green Bay played no starters. The Rams played 0 snaps for starters.
Yeah.
Those teams, I could say, might have a little bit of some catching up to do. Cowboys still played.
They played. The most they played I think 1 quarter, the fourth game or the dress
The
rehearsal
third game.
game. But other than that, it was they gave them 1 series every game, and so I'm like, all right, they got time in. But I just want to say they put up 30 points a game in 2 games against NFL defense division rivals. In that respect, that they
The
know.
second game is harder for division.
But what I'll say is that division rivals still they know your tendencies from year to year because they play you every year. So your roster isn't changing dramatically,
No, it isn't.
and that's why it's harder. Like most of those games they played against the Giants and the Redskins the last several years have always been kind of like close games and grinded out. And that these 2 games they put it away in the middle of the 4th and it was like over. Beginning of the 4th it was over and they knew it was over. And the defense let them score to catch up a little bit and yada yada. But so that's my encouraging point. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna overhype it, but I just want to put it out there in that this is a very unique and interesting arrow that is pointing a certain way that I haven't seen under the Jason Garrett era. So shout out to the Cowboys offense and the Cowboys defense and the Cowboys in general
in
sponsorship.
case you didn't know, Jared's a huge Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
That makes sense now. So you're excited that this could be the one season in the last 20 years it's not mediocre.
There's a chance that they're because every year it's
Something
like
different
they're gonna go
in the
7-9 or
recipe.
9-7.
Right.
It feels like. And Jason Garrett, other than last year, since he got Dak Prescott as quarterback, had been pretty mediocre. He had one really good year with Romo, but other than that, it had always been like 7-9, 9-7, back and forth. So yeah, we'll see. But Niners look good. The Raiders look like they're going to be Raider it up. They lost today. They couldn't do much on offense. I think what is the most interesting thing from the day, though, is that Ben Roethlisberger, the person that Aaron hates because he's a rapist, might be done for a while.
Personally.
He might be done for a while because he threw the ball and then grabbed his arm, and it was like one of those things where he threw the ball. He didn't grab
Did he grab his elbow or shoulder?
He grabbed the top side of his right around his elbow and forearm.
Yeah.
So
Like
I don't know.
Tommy John surgery.
Maybe Yanni, you were dude. If you saw a photo of Rothlisberger last week, he looks like he's out of shape. He looks like
he looks a little.
He looks very doughy.
He's looking like he's kind of mailing it in a little bit.
he's been mailing it, I think, for the last couple of years. But he's had elite talent around him, and now he doesn't. And I think maybe he realized that, and he's like, man, I'm hurt.
he's getting the Hank Hill body a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? King of the Hill.
He never was a workout warrior.
Yeah. Hey, so Yanni, you brought up some things I had forgotten about and didn't even remember. Like Ben Roethlisberger has like a very checkered past beyond like the obvious. We know the bathroom assaults, but.
And I'm no expert. I'm not doing the biography of Ben Roethlisberger or anything. But I think we were talking earlier. There was a series of things early in his career.
It's a series of things. Can we go over those series of things? Because I want to figure out the pinpoint the part where it started going downhill for him. So he was he Ball State quarterback or what school did he go to?
University of Miami, Ohio.
Oh yeah, University of Miami, Ohio quarterback. Got his team to a bowl game. Maybe I'm misrepresenting. Maybe it was somebody else. But I felt like it was like Ben Roethlisberger was somebody who was lost certain recruit privileges because of behavior. But anyways,
I would be in line with other events.
Did it start in early childhood?
We should do a little bit more crack research on this. And put together
a timeline.
Yeah, a timeline would be beneficial because we do know there was the unfortunate rape allegation.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
There was two actually.
Two that we know of.
Oh my God, it was two.
There was the motorcycle accident.
When did the motorcycle happen?
It was right around the time of the rape accident. You don't remember?
No, I vaguely remembered it. Like it
makes you almost wonder if the motorcycle accident was a cover-up.
Well, what came first, the chicken or the egg, or the motorcycle
the rape
or the rape?
Or the accident, or the rape could be an accident too. But the nose job is the one no one talks about. I swear there's a nose job in there. Now we need to pull up. Because this is where we need interns to pull up before and after pictures. Because I swear that Super Bowl against Seattle, right? In 2006?
That was when they won that one.
That was his rookie
year.
He
had a different nose, yeah.
That was his rookie year. That was second year.
Second year.
Okay,
so if he did suffer the nose injury, as we were told, in the motorcycle accident, then it would make sense that he would have had some kind of reconstructive nose surgery. But if not, it's vanity. We got to dock him a few points for that. Makes him more of an egomaniac.
He didn't start throwing the ball around until after that nose surgery, did he? Are you sure this isn't a...
Well, the defense carried him in the first one.
The first one, for sure.
And then he became Big Ben as we know him.
Because he had the accident, and then they claimed he missed the first game of that season. And they claimed it was because he had an emergency God damn it, Jared.
Come on, get to you, Aaron. Come on, get to you. He had an emergency what?
God damn it. Appendectomy? I can't say
Yeah, that sounds right.
God damn it, he said it right. He had an emergency appendectomy, which happened to be on his nose.
Well, they might have just, said, can you fix the nose while you're at it?
while you're under.
I think they're just lying. They're like, hey, we're going to protect. The Steelers are known for protecting players.
Yeah.
They're a good organization.
They are. The Roonies.
The Roonies are really good.
Doing.
And they protected, like, AB from all the crap that happened last year. Like, we didn't really hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ryan Clark and other players, players were saying, before, when AB first asked to get traded, he was saying the Steelers kept a lot quiet.
Yeah.
It was like, it's a lot going on. Dude, do you know Ben Roethlisberger has, in his Wikipedia page, has his own section for off-the-field headlines?
Oh, shit. What is it? Let's go through some of those.
You see, we got the motorcycle accident.
What year did that
Which he
happen?
wasn't wearing a helmet in 2006. Mm-hmm. Or he didn't have a valid motorcycle license.
Bob Petrino himself.
He had a temporary permit. Paramedics on the scene stopped the bleeding in his throat.
Hey, what I will say, so Yanni, what happened there was Aaron was trying to say appendectomy. And so Aaron, as a lifelong Lakers fan, one of his top favorite sports icons of all time is Magic Johnson. Because of this, he sometimes has funny ways of pronunciating certain words or people's, especially player names, especially when they're like complicated names. He'll butcher them. So we give him a magic moment in honor of Magic Johnson, who also seems to sometimes have faux pas when speaking and trying to enunciate things or just even pluralize certain words. So we give him a magic moment. Usually you'll hear this.
This man moment.
Sorry about the levels on that. That's a little loud. This magic moment, and that is for when Aaron has a magic moment, as in he mispronounces things. That's why he paused. I was like, God damn it, I can't say this word.
That's a great bite. That's Benny King.
Benny King. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful sound.
It's a great all-time oldie song.
Benny King, "Stand By Me" was my favorite song growing up.
I think that
as a
was
kid.
Post Drifters.
Yeah,
I got some rock and roll knowledge. But Magic Johnson talking is with delight.
Yeah.
I would listen to him just wait for just him talk about nothing, just random conversation, just to wait for that next screw up, because it's just so great. It's so funny. There are certain people, like I like listening to Barkley talk too, just because the way he says.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they always say like comedians. There's comedians that say things funny or say funny things. And Barkley says things funny.
Yeah.
And like some people that aren't gifted like in their writing as comedians or even as just talking, like they can say things funny. It just makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Like it's hysterical.
Yeah, Charles Barkley.
Pluralizing words like you said, or like mispronouncing words. It's just I get such a kick out of it.
I enjoy it too. And it's one of our cornerstones of our show. So
that's great.
You
I feel like I'm
just
at home.
narrowly missed a magic moment. I think Vegas still has it very high odds that Aaron will have one before the end of the show. They also can happen to you or me if we do something egregious, but that'd have to way more.
Yeah, I thought you were going to surprise me and say that I said something.
You said something wrong, so you get a residual. No, yeah. But anyways,
okay. You know, we're sitting here a while. It's bound to happen. It's
bound to happen. Yeah.
That's why we got the massive editing team.
Yeah, that's massive.
Takes care of everything pro bono when we're gone.
Too bad we're missing. Brandon here. What's Brandon doing today? Shout out to Brandon. Brandon is one of our other co-hosts who sometimes can make it. He has a family, and so Sundays are prime time, just like the NBA on NBC was.
I thought you were going to say he was hanging out with Ahmad Rashad.
I wish he was hanging out with Ahmad. That would be worthwhile. I'm like, hey man, give me that scoop.
It's Sunday. That makes sense.
Get us that press credential, man. Get us that press credential from Ahmad Rashad. Anyways, Aaron, any other tidbits from Ben Roethlisberger that you think are noteworthy?
He had the two sexual allegations. One in whatever the bar that he was in the women's restroom, and the other one at Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
He did break his nose during the motorcycle accident. So he broke a blood vessel in his mouth, or in his throat, and then he broke his nose and broke several, said bones in his jaw, and he had a big scar on the back of his head. It said he was unrecognizable. That even though he was in Pittsburgh,
wow.
When he said no one knew who he was because he was so unrecognizable after the accident. Here's the crazy thing. A little bit before that accident, he was caught. We had the Kellen Winslow incident on a motorcycle. And so it was Susie Colbert interviewed him because she knew he liked to ride motorcycles. And he said, oh, I don't have a problem because I don't ride sports bikes like Kellen Winslow. I just ride choppers and Harleys, things that make a lot of noise and things like that so people can see. I'm not worried about speed. Do you know he was in an accident on a sports bike? And Pittsburgh has a helmet law. Oh, he also said he always wears a helmet. Pittsburgh has a helmet law. Ben Roethlisberger would never be confused for Mother Teresa.
Ben Roethlisberger.
But that nose and his face was drastically different.
It was drastically.
So I remember thinking, this guy looks really different and no one's talking about it. So it's good.
This nigga up on that name.
He is.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
Who is that? That's Ben Roethlisberger.
And then there's just the 15 years of just general douchery.
Just douchery.
Ever since.
Yeah. Did you read the article that came out on Bleacher Report? I'm not a big Bleacher Report reader.
No.
But Jared is, but he missed this one article, which is weird. Someone else sent it to it. Tim sent it to me. Basically went off on how like Ben Roethlisberger just been like one reason behind AB being who he is because of Ben Roethlisberger. Like Mike Tomlin basically gave him the keys to the car, and he's just taking it. He took it on the drive, crashed it, just like the motorcycle. They said he doesn't show up for meetings, like the film sessions, offices film sessions. He's not there. He'll show up late, so he doesn't get fined. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep at the same hotels that the team sleeps in.
Wow.
They're like, dude. They just said basically his douchery just goes beyond. Like,
and when he was interviewed about Brown, his relationship with Brown, he was obviously leaving a lot out. He was blatantly lying.
Well, remember
about his involvement in their relationship.
Oh, that's what he said.
I mean, he's just very
vague.
A lot of omissions, you could tell.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he said I was wondering why he said this. He does a radio show, every year. And he's like, I'm not doing it this year. Now, I didn't know, according to the article, like how many teammates he's thrown under the bus the day after the game on this radio show. When he misfired on the pass that would have won them the game, he threw an interception to the defensive end, and he blamed the wide receiver for running the wrong route. James Washington, which he called him out, Washington, for running the wrong route. He later apologized to Washington, but it was too late. I mean, he called him out on his radio shows. Listen to all this. He's done it many a times. He's called out Le'Veon Bell. He's called out everyone.
Can you imagine being a beat writer and having to go into the locker room and interview that guy and like deal with that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, it must just like I get that Verlander. I get the same vibe. Just
I get the same vibe from Verlander
kind of like
too.
the same arrogant, like
douche,
above all law
yeah.
kind of veteran.
Yeah.
They're not even redeeming, like, at least, like, you know, I got the same vibe from
Curt Schilling.
Curt Schilling for sure.
Curt
Schilling heard his black teammates use the N-word over 100 million times in his career. So I don't know. Curt Schilling, like,
I couldn't believe that was Curt Schilling.
He said that literally.
He said 100 million times. You know, we broke it down to how many times he had to hear it in the locker room. Remember, we did the math.
If you went, it was like 3.5 years of every 1 second somebody said the N-word. So, like, that's 3.5 years, every second of every day of every month of every year for over 3.5 years, somebody would just say, nigga, nigga, nigga. And that's how many times you would have to have your teammates, Curt Schilling, have said that.
That's a year. What about the baseball season?
That's what I'm saying. It's not a long baseball season.
The baseball
8 or 9 months.
Here's the crazy
8 or
thing.
9 months.
He played on teams that I don't think had many black players.
Dude, he had Dominican players.
He had Spanish speakers.
Yeah, because when you think of that 93 Phillies team, you think of black guys.
There was one guy, Jimmy Robb. He was saying it to himself.
Oh, the 93 team.
Dude,
Curt Schilling.
Oh, Curt Schilling.
Right, with Lenny Dykstra, Dalton, Jim Eisenreich.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they were saying
heard that
Mickey Morandini.
Yeah, Mickey Morandini.
Jim Eisenreich.
And you got who on the mound? Oh, Mitch Williams.
Yeah, Mitch
Your
Williams.
closer.
Now that
All-white
was
guy.
fun.
In fact, has there ever been an all-white team? That might be the only
John
all-white
Kruk.
team. Was there any Latin or
Darren
black guys
Dalton.
on that team? By the way, I want to go back to Russell Wilson. You ever realize that his name is 2 sports apparel uniform companies?
Never thought about that.
Russell and
That's why he
Wilson.
can't lose.
And one of them makes the football. Wilson.
Maybe they don't let him lose
do
because
you
of
think
that.
he gets to, do he get to deflate it since then?
Deflate? Yeah, he got
Probably
a
that
gate.
3 times the Patriots cheated.
Jesus.
Got some stock.
I think overall, getting back to Ben Roethlisberger and his unrecognizable face, he's one of the worst players to play with, and he's one of the worst people.
Yeah,
to be
he's
around
always
with.
on your fantasy team every year, Jared.
Oh, don't worry, I
think
cut
the
him
days
for
are numbered.
off-field reasons.
Days are numbered for him. He's winding down. He's not at an elite level anymore.
Aaron and I are in a fantasy league, and I drafted him because he's been really productive. And I drafted him, and I kind of ignored the fact that he lost AB and Le'Veon in this last offseason because he was still productive last year, even without Le'Veon Bell. But, you know, after last week's game and today, like, I let go of him and picked up Dak Prescott because I'm like, you know what? His arrow's pointing up with the offense that's being created. We told you
Dak Prescott. You wouldn't do it.
And Ben Roethlisberger's arrow's pointing down, losing pieces, and just not. I don't think his teammates necessarily like want to play. They're not like out there rallying to play for him, and that's a big deal at quarterback. And if you don't have the talent to make you be better, and you can't make your talent better to the level that's going to be competitive, I think Pittsburgh's in for a big drop off this year, and they're gonna have to really like invest in playing the young dude Mason Rudolph or whatever his name is, the quarterback out of Oklahoma State from a year ago that Ben Roethlisberger refused to help out. He said, "I will not." He said it publicly. He's like, "I will not help him out. I am not here to train my replacement." Basically,
Listen.
You know what's really sad though is when a player's character outweighs his talent, because then you start feeling sorry for him.
Yeah.
And talking about another quarterback, Derek Carr.
Ooh.
Everyone loves him in the locker room. I watched him today through 2 picks on 2 straight possessions.
Oh, he threw 2 picks on 2 possessions.
And they were bad.
That is fuel for the fire, boy.
And I'm thinking, there's a guy like you just don't know.
Thank you,
and you're
Yani.
starting to see kind of what he really is. Those
you,
are the most
Yani.
interesting like players in the NFL, I think, to talk about.
Yeah.
Because they're still relatively young, but they're starting to get to that point where you got to make a
there's
decision.
no more
make a
time.
decision. Like,
What
we're
you
not going to
got,
pay him
what you
another
got here.
contract. Yeah.
And
No
I
more
think Gruden's an overrated coach too.
I 100% agree.
I
with
looked
that.
at the
He was
pulse-
overrated when he was coaching the first time.
He was.
You know what it was? He was
and
Mark
I think
Jackson.
he's dated now.
He
That's
is
a good analogy.
He was Mark Jackson when he first came to the Oakland. He's established a great culture. He established a culture of working hard.
He's become more of a character.
And now he's a TV
caricature.
Yeah.
And he's
Selling
using that
wings
clout to come back in and coach. And I think the game maybe passed him by a little bit.
Selling wings and breasts.
Yeah, you look at Kyle Shanahan's play calling. If you watch the Niners game this morning, I watched the first half to 3 quarters.
Yeah.
You look at his creative, ingenious offensive play calling with not a lot of receivers.
Talent.
I mean, I think Deebo Samuel is legit. This guy's going to be good. But it's a work in progress. But they're getting by. They're scoring 41 points just on Kyle Shanahan's offensive genius.
Yeah.
And then you flip over the Raiders, and you look at what Gruden's got in Carr. I don't think Carr's that much worse of a quarterback than Garoppolo.
No.
Maybe time will tell he is. But it's a bottled up, heavy, bogged down, just not very much creativity offense, and that's oh man. I mean, I see a big difference there.
Yeah,
and,
trust
and
me.
That could be all coaching, really.
I
don't know how much of it's Carr and how much of it's Gruden, but
you will get no dissent from me about that. I think Derek
like
Carr.
The same old Raiders.
I think Derek Carr is highly overrated in Raider fans' eyes. I think Derek Carr is a mediocre quarterback who I would take over Marcus Mariota because Marcus Mariota is an athletic mediocre quarterback.
Agreed.
Neither of them can carry their teams. The issue I have with Derek Carr is I'd rather have Mariota's heart, but I'd rather have Derek Carr's arm talent. The issue is that Derek Carr doesn't have the right heart to be a quarterback. And I say this.
You don't really measure heart, Jared.
I do say it in heart because if you're the quarterback, you don't like literally the crystallizing moment where I was like, I'm done giving him chances was when he got mad at critics calling him out for not playing very well. After he got outplayed by a third string quarterback, Nick Mullins, on a Monday Night Football game.
That was crazy.
I was like, I don't care what happened, Derek Carr. You're going against a team's third string quarterback. You should be like, we're not losing this game. My heart is gone. I'm gonna carry this team. You lost. People called you out for it, and then you started saying, "Hey, Dana White." You started tweeting to Dana White, adding him, saying, "Hey, Dana White, can we get some kind of MMA sanctioned fights where these pundits who talk all this bad stuff on my name, I can get in the octagon with me, and we can have it out in there." I'm like, why are you even doing that? You're an athlete. Of course you're going to beat up these writers, but these writers are saying exactly what you're doing, being mediocre at best. You have to take that. You are the highest paid player. You play the hardest position. It comes with a responsibility, and you will be rewarded with legacy and money more so than anybody else if you can handle it. You obviously can't handle it. You are somebody who is garbage, and you shouldn't be the quarterback of the Oakland Raiders because they're number 2 in my heart, and I'm tired of seeing them held back by your mediocrity. So, yeah, get at me, Derek Carr. Shout out sponsorship if you want to sponsor us too, because we tell the truth. Anyways.
I think Gruden knows too that if he had his choice in a perfect world, Derek Carr would not be.
They're waiting for Tua or Trevor Lawrence.
He's waiting it out.
Yeah.
Even in the preseason, he was making like pretty strong suggestions that he wanted. Who's the backup? What's that other guy's name?
Oh, Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, he was almost directly.
If you want Nathan Peterman
saying
over Derek Carr, then that's
Nathan not a vote of confidence. And Carr has this like whiny kind of
he's
like
a front
very
runner.
immature kind of body language when he takes off his helmet after an interception or two. Like when things aren't going right, he looks like he's not really ready or to be that guy, like to be a leader. He just doesn't have that. I don't get that confidence with him.
He don't have that
it's too late.
Like
now.
he could shrink.
I feel like it's too late.
And by now you should know.
Yeah.
And what his brother had a pretty low ceiling too.
His brother
so
had
maybe
a low
it's just
ceiling.
not in the.
His brother kept getting killed.
His brother got sacked like a record time.
But I do
3
have a
seasons
feeling
in a row.
though that if Kyle Shanahan had Carr, he could make a little more out of it.
He can make Carr more, but I just think Carr does not know how to win unless the expectation. He's kind of like that Nick Foles. Like when the expectation is low for you, he performs at his best. When the expectation is, hey man, we think you're good now. Show us how good you can be.
Nick Foles is that? I would say
Nick Foles was given the starting job, and he got hurt this year. But before that, he's given the starting job, and he sucked, and he was mediocre. He was decent, but he wasn't great, and they moved on. That's why they drafted Carson Wentz, right? And then he left. But when Carson Wentz got hurt and everyone's like, oh man, we have this great team, but shit, what are we gonna do? Nick Foles, you're good enough, but we don't expect you to carry us to the Super Bowl. And Nick Foles is like, hey, there's no pressure on me. I have a talented team around me. I'm good enough to carry this team or help this team move on.
He was good enough to carry the Super Bowl.
But once he gets,
Carr ain't good enough to carry them.
Did he get hot or is he really that good?
He's talented.
Maybe
he's a talented QB.
He
was a great passer.
Get hot in a short stretch.
Yeah.
I'll say this:
like Joe Flacco did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and you realize what they are later.
Joe Flacco wasn't really hot. He just made some big throws and a couple big moments.
He got hot.
But
for Joe Flacco,
for Joe Flacco,
at that time, people thought Joe Flacco was in the upper echelon.
Yeah, if you can get Joe Flacco to a simmer, then you got him hot. It's like Joe Flacco is about as intelligent as a loaf of bread.
I think you put Kirk Cousins in that category too. These guys that are like
Kirk
pretty
Cousins
good. Pretty good.
High statistical
very much like Derek Carr,
Yeah.
except Derek Carr doesn't take as many chances as Kirk Cousins, which is why I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than him.
Right.
So at least Kirk Cousins, if you're like Kirk Cousins, just let it go. Just do whatever. He'll take chances and he'll throw interceptions. He'll take chances. Derek Carr is all about like
I'm not going to be to blame for this loss.
Yeah,
he was to blame today. You say, right?
blame today.
Well, he looked really bad when I watched him. I didn't watch the whole game. But
He looked bad?
It was ugly.
Yeah.
There was a couple, I mean, it's the quality of the throws, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the interceptions were like
Just terrible.
elementary.
I'm starting to realize there's two types of A's fans now. There's the A's fans who are, you know what, I'm going to ride it. I'm hoping we get one. Like, sort of what Jared was, what he kept saying. I sat here and dealt with, Bobby Sura and Keith Mr. Jennings. Like, I got to celebrate these titles. And then there's the A's fan like Jared and Powell and people who were just like, you know what? I love the A's, but I'm so pissed off at them still. And I'm always going to love them, but I'm pissed off after one certain year. So it seems like they all agree on one year that they
There's
hate,
always one
that pissed
culminating
them
moment
off.
where it just sets.
And what year was it? It was the year they traded.
It was the year they traded Cespedes.
That was the same thing for Powell.
Right before the
Three
playoffs.
people I heard say that.
Oh,
as
Powell,
A's
I know
fans.
Powell.
You know
Yeah,
Powell?
Powell.
Yeah, I think we had the
You
same
guys-
conversation actually.
Yeah.
You did? Yeah,
And
he
I'm
told
like,
me
you
that.
can't give up. You can't just like not be an A's fan because of
Nah, he went a
because
little
now you're
farther,
finally
yeah.
figuring out this is the way they run business.
Yeah, he went a
like
little
we've known
farther.
this for 15 years that they're cheap and they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll change with this.
But they're trading him that year. They had a great team. Just ride that year out.
And
lose.
my issue was the
Yeah.
bats were not the issue. Or, I mean, the pitching was not the issue with the A's. It was that
Who did they trade
went
for 'em?
silent against aces.
They got Lester.
Yeah, and I was like, it's not the pitching. The pitching has always kept them in the
Well, I
games.
thought they traded whatchamacallit for Lester, the shortstop.
No, they had traded for Samardzija earlier in the season, and then
Oh,
they ended
that's
up
it,
trading
yeah.
for Lester. But they gave up. Was it Cespedes for Lester?
Yeah, I think Cespedes were Lester, and I think they got Jason Hamill.
Yeah, Jason
Oh,
Hamilton.
it was. Yeah.
And I was
in
like,
that deal,
and
and,
I-
then I think they got Samardzija came.
They traded
second.
Samardzija for.
my main thing was like
yeah.
the A's issue was not their pitching at that point. Like their pitching wasn't it. They were trying to do the Giants thing where it's like hopefully get a
that's one of
hot
those-
Marco Scutaro and somebody who's not expected to get hot and carry a team, and then everyone else is like decent hitters around it, and the pitching is just like brilliant. I was like, John Lester is not a brilliant pitcher in that way. He's not a shutdown pitcher. He's a very good pitcher. He's been a very good pitcher and a good playoff pitcher, but he's not a Randy Johnson. He's not a Curt Schilling. He's not a Madison Bumgarner who just shuts everyone down when they pitch in the playoffs. And like, you don't need that. He's not a Verlander. You have to beat Verlander. You need to keep your bats. They gave up another bat. The one dude who set the plate. And what happened to Josh Donaldson after that trade? And Donaldson was starting to like flutter a little bit before that trade happened. After it happened, nobody worried about who was batting around Josh Donaldson. And Josh Donaldson basically went into a huge slump after that trade. And when they got to the playoffs, they couldn't hit. So I'm like, why would you make that trade?
Yeah.
Billy Bean's like, put all the cards on the table. I'm like, no.
I could see it both ways. Because the
Which
offense
John Lester
was,
couldn't throw pick off. Nobody. They stole on them.
yeah.
We down
Yeah,
7-0. But guess what? John Lester don't throw no pick off moves because you know what? He got the yips on that. He don't hold nobody on. They're like, wait a minute, we only down 7? We got this. Let's come back. Or 5.
I watched the highlights of that one game wild card against
I was
the
going to
Royals
a
on
comedy
YouTube
show.
a couple weeks ago, just
Yeah.
randomly.
I went to a comedy
They
show
weren't
in
even
downtown
leading
Oakland
off.
with Brandon, and I was like, "Oh man, I got the lead, Brandon. Let's stay and watch. Oh, you know what? Let's go and watch part of this show. We'll come back out and check it out." Man, I checked back in 7-4. I'm like, "Oh shit, it's getting close, bro." Check back 7-6. I was like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "I got to do this comedy show." I go to the bar nearby and see falling apart. Why? Because they wouldn't take John Lester out when he wouldn't pick nobody off.
But the offense wasn't the problem.
And at that point,
They scored like 8, 9
no,
runs.
they
in
scored runs that game.
game.
Yeah, they did.
Brandon Moss hit 2 bombs, I think.
Yeah,
and they were.
That was.
They just made their
it just
typical
fell apart.
boneheaded mistakes, and
Yeah.
there were some dinkers and dunkers.
And then the following year, they didn't have John Lester and they didn't have Cespedes anymore. So
Yeah, I think the Donaldson one hurt more because
That hurt.
He was obviously at MVP level,
But they were past it. They were
Yeah,
like, we already
it was
Billy
too
Bean's
late.
like already went all in, so it's done. Gets to get what I can for him, and that's the Billy Bean method.
Who
So
remembers Brett Laurie?
oh Jesus, what a mediocre excuse
Yeah,
for that.
Chapman really makes up for all that. I
Brett
think now that
Laurie
we
is-
have What a joke.
Just untapped potential.
Probably hangs out with Rothlisberger.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, he looks like the type that would be at the Krogans.
Yeah,
He does hang out.
You know what I'm saying? He's at Krogans hanging out with those guys.
Him and Verlander and Roethlisberger.
Oh, Jesus, all those guys. It's a good thing
training
for
together.
Yeah, oh, God.
Getting matching tattoos.
Yeah, Brett Lowry definitely had, and so did Jed Lowry. Oh, jeez.
Oh, Jed Lowry was pretty...
Oh, Jerry hates Jed Lowry.
Oh, we got the most out of him, though.
We did.
Every time we signed him to that 1 or 2 year deal, he produced, and then he'd leave and get hurt.
Did not do anything.
I just did not like Jed Lowry. I don't like solid baseball player. Respect to him being a solid baseball player. His
machine.
But his whole persona, his era. He had a lot of RBIs. Super arrogant.
He had a Stanford vibe.
Yeah,
because he went to Stanford.
Yeah,
he did.
Stanford, yeah.
A lot of RBIs off of someone that had no power.
Yeah.
Man, he had a great
Well, he should have just stayed in Boston his whole career. He could have had a bunch of home runs and doubles for just popping it over those short fences.
The doubles leaders in the AL, 3 out of the 4 guys are Red Sox because they're just hitting balls off the green monster all day.
Yeah. You got a cramp, man. You got the Keegan going on. Aaron over here again. The Keegan going on. We're a sports podcast.
Trainer,
we talk sports so hard that we even get cramps because you gotta hydrate, dude.